I've played a lot of strategy RPGs in my day. I'm a huge fan of the genre. I love RPGs itself. If you watch my channel, you know that. And if you're someone new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But yeah, I want to talk about this because Triangle Strategy is a game that does so many things right. And it does so many things in today's day that you're like, wow, it doesn't have that in the game. It's what is great about games. It's what's kind of pure about games. And it's what I want to see going forward with games in multiple different facets. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, well, wait a minute, OJ, you've already talked about this game. You did a review. I talked about it again with the unboxing. But yes, it's that good because now I have over 100 hours in the game. I actually have it beat, and I've seen what I need to do to get some of the stuff that I didn't get. And it just made me realize how good this game is, how it appeals to so many different people, how it actually does things, and you're like, wow, it appeals to that person and that person. If you like this, or if you like that, or if you like that, it has all of it. Now, I don't have the time to kind of go through and show you each individual thing, and I don't want to do that because there's spoilers in terms of it, but I do want to explain and talk about it now that I put over 100 hours into it, and to actually talk about this so you guys might want to even try out the game, because there is a demo where you can go download it for free, and it's actually the first 3 chapters, and then you can take everything that you've done so far and transfer that over to the main game. So a lot of you guys have been asking me about this game. I see it on Twitter whenever I post about it. I see it on my YouTube videos. I see people saying, oh, well, I heard this. I liked Octopath, but I didn't like this game. Would I like this? Well, what I say is try the demo. But from someone who's played the game for over 100 hours, let me highlight what this game does, how it's 100% game and 0% BS. Now, I'm not saying that the game is perfect. There are some things that could be better in the game, but no game is perfect. And when you're talking about strategy RPGs, this is my favorite one of all time. Now let's go over the whole litany of things. One, the story is absolutely fantastic. You have multiple different endings. You have even a secret ending if you do everything correctly. But the voice acting, the dialogue, the writing, and how they convey emotions and what's happening to these characters is absolutely phenomenal. It's such a cool thing to kind of go through, and I was constantly blown away by each little side story, each little backstory, each little different thing, how these characters all came together, and even how you get those characters, because it has a very unique system with the conviction system. It's called Triangle Strategy. There's 3 different types of morality in the game. So based on your actions, you get points into each one, and new characters will join you or will say certain things based in different circumstances. So what does that do? It builds replay value. And this game, before we get into the combat and some of the other things, the replay value and the new game plus in this game is exactly how I would love to see. You bring over everything. It actually tells you more details with your choices, which path you're going to be taking. It lets you know how many points you're getting towards each morality that you're having. And it's not just Sarah Noah's gain conviction. It's little tips and little bits and details that will make the second playthrough a lot more fun, because you're gonna actually know which morality chain that you're going to, and it can affect what type of characters that you can get in the game that you missed on your first playthrough. It is a fantastic way to do New Game Plus, and it's something different that I haven't seen before in other games, where usually when you do New Game Plus, you just get all your items and all that, and that's that. It's the same story, same everything. Maybe you try a different path, but this time you can actually see it, and it shows you exactly the inner workings of the system and how it actually works. And on top of that, New Game Plus is actually even harder than the base difficulty. So whatever difficulty you played at, that same difficulty will be harder. So there's actually a special, quote unquote, unlocked very hard mode on the next playthrough, and that keeps going apparently with other playthroughs on that single file. So it's just brutal right now for me, but I love it. But I think that what this RPG does as well, that I think that is probably one of the best things that I've ever seen for quality of life and gameplay, is the encampment. And I've talked about this before, but the encampment, it lets you actually grind out materials and grind out experience and level up, where it would be difficult to do that in a story-based strategy RPG, where a lot of them, it's like, hey, you have this map and you fight that map one time and that's the experience that you get. Yes, there are some games that let you replay the missions or replay things, but in games like Fire Emblem Three Houses, for example, you're not allowed to replay missions. on the hardest difficulty. Now, I played Triangle Strategy on the hard difficulty, and I was able to grind for materials, grind for experience, and level up. So they do that to where it makes it more of a quality of life feature for me, because that's one thing that I really disliked about Fire Emblem was the fact that on normal, you can grind and replay missions without it taking up your time or your calendar day. Whereas on hard, like, nope, you got to just keep pushing, keep pushing. Sometimes I want to get this new ability, get this new skill, try out these new characters, try out new combinations, and they might be under leveled compared to the rest of my cast. So I want to have a way to get those people up without wasting that time or that experience or on something new when the enemies are harder based on where I am in the story, and Triangle Strategy completely takes care of that. And on top of it, they actually give lower characters higher amounts of experience. So if one of your characters is really low ranked and you go on a mission that's higher ranked and they do any type of action, they're gonna pretty much get 100 experience points and level up. So you level up quicker, you get spoils and materials more. It is something that just really balances out the gameplay and even helps you with scenarios in the main campaign with different things in the encampment, different styles of battle, pincer attacks, being flanked, having to go uphill, having to go downhill, being surrounded. I mean, I love all these things. If you combine all of that with everything that I just talked about, the great cast, the voice work, the great story, the HD 2D style, the encampment, the quality of life features, everything in this game, it's like chef's kiss. It's so good. So yes, I love Triangle Strategy. I think it's a phenomenal game. But kind of getting into the other thing about it, like I talked about, I put 100 hours into this game. But like, to me, it reminds me of the golden age of gaming, not just because of the visuals and the HD 2D, the 16-bit era, but it reminds me of what was great about gaming. There's the no microtransactions BS. There's the no, oh, we have all these different DLC packs and you're buying all this and that and all these all different stuff that all companies do. Nintendo does it, Microsoft does it, Sony does it, everybody. We've been talking about Gran Turismo lately and the scummy type of stuff that's going on there, how, you know, they actually increase the grindiness of the game and it's like always online in certain things. So that type of stuff is just getting so grating on me when it comes to gaming. I love the fact that I picked up this game, Triangle Strategy, or at least Nintendo gave me a review copy, but I actually bought the special edition as well. So I got the game, okay? You put it in. I think that there's a small update, maybe for like a few tweaks here or there, but you can play it without it. But the game is complete on cartridge. It's a 100% game, 0% BS. You put the game in there, you can play it, everything's there, all the content's in there. It's content feature rich, compact, everything. There's no DLC characters to get or download or anything like that. There's no seasons or waves of anything. It's just the complete game, ready to go, ready to play, ready to have fun. Yes, that's old school. Yeah, I know that I sound old right now, but man, I like this. This is what I like about games. There's just none of that stuff. All this different stuff that was in New Game Plus, all these different things, that could have been sold as DLC, or they could have sold more characters as DLC, because you don't think that you get as many characters as you get when you're first playing the game, because the maps and all that, they don't hold a ton of characters. The max is 12. So you're thinking, well, maybe I'll have around 12, 15 characters max in this game. But no, you get a lot more than that. In other games, they might have tried to sell you as DLC or something like that. But this one, they don't do that. So that's what I love about this game. It is down to earth. It is a complete game. Like I said, there's no BS with it. There's none of that other nonsense. And I feel that when I played this game, I immediately wanted to replay it again. Immediately wanted to go back in, try out a different path, get different things, get different characters, go to different places, because there's key decision points that you have to pick between doing this or doing that, and everything just gelled together with Triangle Strategy. It honestly did, and I'm so happy that I played the game and that I actually decided to give it a shot, because Triangle Strategy is one of those games that you can easily overlook. I think that a lot of people kind of overlooked this game in terms of how good it was, but then started seeing the reviews and like, okay, well, hold up, let me try this out. And I think that this is going to be a very big word of mouth game. Some people felt that it wasn't going to sell. Well, what we do know is that it sold about 800,000 copies already, and that's even before a month. So this game has that low-key type of word of mouth power, that old school Super Nintendo, NES word of mouth, to where, yeah, the internet isn't out there talking about like it's the greatest thing ever. And yes, 800,000 copies isn't as good as like Elden Ring that sold like 12 million plus or anything like that. But for a small tactics game, from Square Enix, from Team Asano and Art Dink, what they did there with literally no marketing because of the circumstances that's going on in the world right now with the war. The fact that it was able to come out and have that many people for this type of game buy it, and now more and more people actually saying, this game is amazing, this game is super good, you should play it. I love to see that. I really do love to see that. So yes, Triangle Strategy, 100% game, no BS, none of the microtransaction, no always online DRM, no needing to download some huge patch, really small file size if you're downloading it digitally. It's just a great game, and one of those games that people just need to check out, especially if you're tactics fans. I've had some people ask me, you know, should I get it or whatever, and I know I've talked about this before, but man, I think that it's a game worth trying out. I think that it's a game that deserves a bit more love. And on my last bit here, I know I talked about the reviews. I think it's like at a 82 or 83, somewhere in that range. And I feel that this game is severely underrated. Triangle Strategy is one of those games that people just look at it, probably put it on the easiest difficulty. I know a lot of reviewers aren't good at tactics games, so they just put them on the easiest difficulty so they can get through them and get the review out because it's too hard for them. And if you do that, it essentially becomes somewhat useless because the characters no longer mean anything. And the reason why I say that is because the value, I guess there's no permadeath, but like you don't value it, right? There's certain characters that you absolutely need to use, like when you're being stressed, when there's pressure, and it factors into the strategy of the game. So a character like Medina, who she is a nurse, she throws healing items, right? Well, if you're never actually in trouble of dying, or if you're never actually in a bind or have to do certain strategies to get yourself out of it, her medicine toss isn't really that big of a deal. So that's the problem that I see with a lot of these reviews out there. People that are beating the game in 15 hours, 20 hours or whatever, they're playing it on the easiest difficulty. Therefore, half of the cast is useless. All you really need is the main characters. You just need Federica, you just need Roland, Serenoa, and your healer is not even really that useful either because the game is so easy. There's no actual strategy to it, and they're just going through for the story experience, but that's only half of it. That's only part of the experience with the game, and I feel that so many reviewers did that because of the time that it took them to beat it. If you're playing the game on normal, if you're playing the game on hard, especially on hard, but if you're playing it on normal, there's no way that you're going to just be able to rush through it that fast unless you're a master tactician, and none of these guys that are reviewing this game from these major sites are that. So to me, I didn't really regard a lot of those reviews. I mean, it's okay. They have an opinion and they're entitled to that. But for me, this game is way better than what the reviews say it is, because some people were kind of like put off by that maybe a little bit because they felt that it should be higher or it's not as high as Fire Emblem. This game's every bit as good. It just doesn't have the graphics that the game has. It's HD 2D, but it does so many things better than Fire Emblem. They kind of copied them with some of the stuff, but it does so many things better than that game, especially on the quality of life features if you're playing the game on the hard difficulty. So to me, it's well worth it. I think that it's a very good game. I've never put this much time into a Switch game this fast. I think the only other game was maybe Super Smash Brothers, but I don't think I put 100 hours in that game in less than a month, in like 2-3 weeks. I don't think I did that. So that's a testament to how much I like this game. That's a testament to how good Triangle Strategy is. There's no way I would have beat it this fast and put that many hours into it. I don't think I even put that many hours into Xenoblade that fast. There's no way I would have done that unless I felt that it was really that good of a game. So those are my thoughts on Triangle Strategy. What do you guys think about the game? How do you guys feel about it? How do you guys feel about what I had to say here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.